For the 70th anniversary of the Railway series, Thomas and Friends The Adventure Begins released. As a couple of you know, I already made a review of this movie with the boys in the back rooms. Since then, my opinions have drastically changed, so I decided to go in for the 81st anniversary. So yep, going back for round 2. The Adventure Begins is a recreation of the first 2 Railway series books, with a CGI makeover and a couple changes. Some of these changes are more controversial than others, but I was very biased when it came out. Yeah, I knew the originals were better, both from the Railway series and Model series, but things like the Runaway initially enhanced the experience. That may be the most controversial scene in the movie, so I think we'll get to it last. And yeah, I think I initially gave this movie a 10 out of 10, which is simply not true. So after a year of my initial review being out, and if you want a more positive review overall, then you probably should check out that. But first we're going to go through the highs anyway. So what do I think about the movie now? So yeah, the highs. Let's start with my favorite part of the movie, Edward. This is how Edward should always be written. He's not just some, train all engines to go, or a hater of newfangled nonsense or whatever other mischaracterization there is. He's a kind old engine with a heart of gold. He may look old, but his soul is very young. Not to say he isn't wise, it's just a good balance of having a wise and young spirit at the same time. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you get it, you get it. My favorite moment from him is in the Thomas and the Trucks adaptation. Edward makes a mistake. Whenever he makes a mistake in the hit error or something, it's always called out. No one lets it slide. Yet, I hear no one get mad about this one. It's like being too thoughtful is kind of like a good flaw for him. It's not like Thomas was manipulating him, though, to be clear. It's just I don't know, it's a very circumstantial flaw, but it works surprisingly well. Anyway, I'm gonna stop yapping about Edward. He could be his own video if I'm being honest. James and Gordon are good. They seem very in line with all their past depictions from the last 70 years at this point. These 2 characters in the franchise that they just never got ruined. So I don't have that much to say on them. I like the black coat of paint they gave James. Let's talk visuals. How are they this good? Okay, this is where CGI Thomas's animation peak. It can only get worse from here. It gets better? That's a different story for a different day, though. Back to The Adventure Begins, the animation is really good. Everything looks so much more polished than it has so far in the Brenner era. Like, comparing this to King of the Railway, night and day. Seriously, how does no one talk about how bad this movie looks? Okay, getting off King of the Railway. The Adventure Begins, another thing I like is Thomas's LBSC livery. Everyone loves it. Everything about that design, it's just perfect. It doesn't feel like a cheap toy design. It feels like a livery that an engine genuinely would wear. The new characters are great too. There's not much to them. The breakdown train have faces now. Cool. And Glenn is a coffee pot, and I think that's pretty cool. He has much more to do later down the series. The last thing I want to mention for the highs is the music. This and Lost Treasure is easily tied for the best movie soundtrack in Thomas history. Sure, it's mostly remixes, but they're damn good remixes. Some of my favorites are Thomas's Train, The Runaway, Gordon's theme, Troubles with Trucks, the Breakdown Train theme, and obviously Really Useful Engine. It's probably my favorite version of the song, but that opinion changes every week, so don't count on it. So yeah, many great things about this movie, but what did they fumble? Okay, so there are no real lows in this movie. This section was initially called the lows, but truthfully, I won't say there's anything more than mid here. Nothing I'd call bad. I guess we start with the only thing I'd kinda call bad, and that's just Henry. He's so boring. He's just a lame scaredy cat. I guess it's not that far of a cry from his original depiction, but it's just so lame. I don't want to talk about it. I mean, when I say he's not a far cry, I just mean Henry just being afraid of the rain rather than being stubborn. It can kind of fit into the same thing, but it's just not that great. Well, then I thought about it, and maybe this whole thing in The Adventure Begins, maybe it was a whole thing to bring back Henry's original character. A way to show the explodes with the hidden nitrogen era, and maybe throughout this next season, maybe he grows back into that classic personality. What do you mean he gets scared of chicken pox in the next season? Okay, never mind. This interpretation of Henry can burn in the pits of the scrapyard. Now to the actual mid parts of the movie. Thomas, he's just a chill guy. He seems like a very censored version of the character. Like, I understand it, but it takes out some of the genius in the original, especially in Thomas and Gordon. In the movie, there's a very clear bad guy, where in the originals, both of them are in the wrong. In the movie, Thomas wakes up Gordon once, and is given a near-death experience because of that. Is that really warranted? Simple answer, no. Luckily, that's about all the problems we have with Friendly Thomas, as we'll call him. The other three stories are still a very believable interpretation of these stories. The last story, however, I am so mixed on. Okay, listen, the runaway is cool, but then again, some of that genius writing from the original is lost. But then again, Thomas's arc is different in the original and the CGI. The original kind of focuses on him learning responsibility, and this story is more like an underdog becoming a hero. Like, it's the same stories and the same structure, but like, just the way the character is written, it makes it like a whole different story. And that makes why the like runaway is so conflicting for me, because it's the finale, but it only really works for how Thomas's arc would end being an underdog. But like, learning responsibility, it just doesn't, I don't know. I feel like Thomas immediately doing the wise thing and getting the breakdown train first just makes more sense and shows how much he's grown as a character, in the originals at least. So you see why I'm so conflicted on this? I guess it really can't add or subtract from the movie's quality, since, again, we got a sick runaway scene and a sick runaway remix, but I don't know. It's a very conflicting scene, and it was kind of hard to say if this was mid or good, because, yeah, I don't know. I could definitely understand both arguments for why people would prefer either version, but I'm leaning towards the original. Overall, the movie is still very good. Not as good as I initially made it out to be, but very good nonetheless. I call it an 8.5 out of 10. I also previously said this was probably the best way to get someone into Thomas. I kind of take that back. Why? Well, not because this one's particularly bad, but I think any form of the Thomas the Tank Engine book works. All three of Thomas's forms portrayed the story amazingly. Maybe the 2026 show would do its own interpretation, who's to say? Anyhow, that's about all I got, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.